That's the new one. All right, so we're going to go over each of these. What you're doing is you're going to identify what operation is happening in the problem. So looking through this, we're going to identify any key words or key phrases or just concepts and ideas from the problem that let us know, hey, this is a multiplication or division or addition or subtraction or a combination of some things. There might be multiple operations happening. So that's what we're looking for today. We're going to do the first 8 together, and then you get to split up with a partner, one partner, or if you want to work by yourself and listen to music, that's fine as well. Okay? But it's your choice. You either work with somebody, no music, or you work by yourself, you can have your music. All right, let's go over this. Number 1, it says Elena weighed out 4.5 pounds of trail mix from the bin at the store. She will make up small bags of trail mix, each weighing 3/4 of a pound. How many small bags will she be able to make up? So the first thing that we want to do is we want to figure out, hey, what operation is existing here? Like, what operation do we know we're going to have to perform? So who can tell me what operation is this? Joel? Not multiplication. What do you think, Kingston? Not subtraction. Jasmine? How do you know it's division? Very good. She's making up small bags that are each going to weigh 3/4. That means she's splitting things up into equal parts. The fact that each of these bags needs to weigh this amount, she's splitting into equal groups. And remember, equal groups means division. That was one of the things we wrote down in our notebook a couple days ago last week, is that key things for division, you're looking for equal parts that it's being split up into. So we have a total of 4.5, but the fact that she wants to make up small bags of trail mix that each weigh 3/4 of a pound, that each right there means that we're going to go ahead and divide it into equal parts. So this is a division problem. So we're going to divide 4.5 divided by 3/4. Now, yesterday you had practice plugging in mixed numbers and fractions, doing multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, and then converting them back into mixed numbers for your answers. So who can remember? So if I go ahead and I type in, hey, I want 4.5, and I'm going to divide it by 3/4. Whoops. If this was an improper fraction, let's say that this was not 6. Let's say it was like 11/2. Who remembers what would we have to pick up here or press up here to convert it into a mixed? Lucy? Very good. Second, and then x10n will then give you that answer into a mixed number form. So this happens to be that we got a whole number. We got 6. But if you got an improper fraction, you then would have to hit second and then hit that x10n, and it would give you your mixed number, okay? But when we divided here, we got 6. So there's our answer. All right, problem number 2. It says Tina has 2 3/4 yards of mulch delivered. She used 1 1/3 of the mulch in her front yard. The rest will be used for her garden. How much will she use in her garden? Let's identify the operation. And how did we know it's that operation? Trevor? Okay, how did you know? The rest will be used. So that keyword used, right? That's another word. I mean, we never wrote that down in our thing, but it kind of goes along with that whole, you're cutting something. You're taking part of something. Okay, it's a used item. You're removing something. So she's got all of this, and then she's going to remove part of it to put in one section, and then the remaining of it is going to be in another section. So that gives you an idea that it's subtraction. So we're going to subtract 2 3/4 minus 1 1/3. Okay, so 2 3/4 minus that 1 1/3. So when we type that in, 2 3/4. Don't forget to get out of the fraction when you're doing this. Let me zoom in a little bit. Woo, still trying to get used to this thing. There we go. All right, so 2 3/4, then minus, and it's the 1 1/3. We're going to get 17 over 12. So again, we have to convert that into a mixed number. So we hit the second button, and then we hit that X10N, because it gives us the fraction to mixed number formula and converts it 1 5/12. All right, what about problem number 3? Angel was able to jog 1 3/4 miles after 2 months of working out. Jose was able to jog 1.5 times as much. How far did he jog? Allison, what's the operation going to be? Multiply. How did you know? Because it says times, right? That's one of our key words that lets us know, hey, multiplication is going to be occurring here. So we're going to multiply. That's my pink. I think it looks like pink, right, on there? Doesn't it look like pink? Oh, well, you can use red. I use red or pink. I think the main issue was people didn't know whether it was pink or it was orange, but now it's pretty easy to tell the difference with the new camera. Okay, so we're going to multiply 1 3/4 times 1.5. Again, you're going to have to convert it into the mixed number. So go ahead and multiply. Let me know what you get. Converted it into a mixed number. 2 5/8. Very good. Harmon? So that I'm glad you asked that. So 2 months, a lot of people were asking that in the last class too. They said, well, what do we do with the 2 months? Why aren't we multiplying by 2? This right here, sometimes in the problem, they give you extra information. So this is just extra information that's not necessary to know. It had nothing to do with the actual numbers that you were multiplying. All it was there was to kind of throw you off and to see, did you understand that you're only supposed to be multiplying this and not the 2 months? So that's going to occur sometimes in your word problems. They might give you some fluff. Okay? All right, let's take a look at number 4. Carrie uses 2/3 of her allowance to buy clothes. 1/4 of that is used to buy shoes. How much of her allowance is used to buy the shoes? What operation? And this one might be a little bit tricky. What do you think, Jasmine? Not addition. See, that's where a lot of people get confused. They want to say addition when really it's something different. What do you think, Jose? Or no, you're not Jose. I'm sorry, Julian. No, other Julian. Nope. Okay, so we went through all 3 without getting to the one that it is. It's multiplication. Remember, if you look back, so let's go back to our keywords here. Not uses. It's not uses. We look back at our keywords for multiplication. Of. Of is a key word that lets you know. If you say it's doing a fraction of this value, a fraction of this or a fraction of that, that lets you know it's going to be multiplication. That's a tricky one, but it's the most common that you're going to see. The fact that it says you're going to do 1/4 of that. The word that refers to this amount here. the 2/3 that she uses to buy clothes. So for the 2/3 that she's using to buy clothes, 1/4 of that amount is going to be allotted to just shoes alone. So this is going to be multiplication. This is going to be multiplication. Now, remember, just because you see the word of doesn't mean multiplication all the time. It has to be kind of paired with it's something of that amount. Like here, 1/3 of her time, that of does not mean multiplication. Okay? That of is not meaning her multiplication. When it's 1/3 of this many hours, then that would be multiplication. Okay? So be mindful of that. So we're going to take 2/3 and we're going to multiply it by the 1/4. How much of her allowance is going to be allotted to the shoes? 1/6. Very good. All right. Let's take a look at number 5. Jennifer let her hair grow to a length of 22 1/4 inches. She cut her hair and donated it to Locks of Love. Her hair is now 5 1/6 inches long. What length of hair was donated to Locks of Love? JD? How do you know? Good. Cut. The fact that she cut, she's removing something. Her hair has been cut off. That means it's going to be subtraction. So she's going to subtract. So she started off with 22 1/4 inches. And now she's cutting off hair and is left with 5 1/6 inch. So if she's left with 5 1/6, we want to know how much did she actually have removed. What is that going to equal then? 17 1/12. Good. Mackenzie? So in order to do the mixed numbers on your calculator, it's the same button as the fraction button, but instead of hitting the fraction button first, you'd have to hit the second button. When you hit the second button and then you hit the fraction button, it'll pop up with the boxes where you have a whole number box and then you've got the fraction boxes. Yep, I'll do it again. Let me clear it out. So if you want to make a mixed number, so like I want to make 22 1/4, I'm going to hit the second button, that green button. Anytime you hit the second button, guys, everything that's written in green is now the true button. So I hit the fraction button because if you look above it, look above the fraction button in green, it says U and then ND. So it has a unit in front of a fraction. That means it's the mixed number. So when you hit that, you now have your boxes popped up for mixed numbers. So you would type 22. You have to use your arrow to get over to the numerator. You would type in the 1. Use your down arrow to get to the 4. And then get out of the fraction. You have to use your arrows to get out of the fraction before you can start typing your subtraction sign. Hit second again. Hit the fraction button, and now I can put in my next mixed number, which is 5. Hit my arrow, 1. Hit the down arrow, 6. And then hit the right arrow to get out of it. Good. Then enter. Now again, it gives me a mixed number, so how do I get, or I mean, sorry, an improper. How do I change the improper to mix again, Julian? Good, X10 in. So then we'll hit enter and 7 1/12, or 17 1/12. Okay? All right. Number 6, we're going to spend 3/8 of the time sleeping, 1/3 of the time at school, and 1/6 of the time playing. How much less time is spent sleeping than playing in school combined? Operations? Joel? Not multiplication. Mohammed? There is subtraction, but what else? Cynthia? Addition. There's two operations, right? Subtraction is definitely one of the operations because it states that you want to know how much less time. That right there is going to be subtraction. But you're subtracting away from a combination, and that combination is addition. The word combined means that you're going to be adding. So we have to actually add first. After we add two values together, then we can subtract. Now the values that we're going to add together, we have to focus on what value represents playing and what value represents school. What value represents playing? 1/6, right? 1/6 of the time playing. So we have playing 1/6 plus school. How much is school? 1/3. 1/3 of the time at school. So we're going to add those together first. 1/6 plus 1/3. What are we going to get there? 1/2. So this is going to give us 1/2. Then we're going to subtract. So we'll do 1/2 minus the 3/8. And what will we get? 1/8. Very good. All right, number 7. Yes, sir. Well, it depends. If it's multiple choice, then you wouldn't be showing me that. We would just be checking for the correct response. Now, when you guys are doing your test on the computer, I give you a grid, almost like what this is, but it's blank, and it has numbers like problem 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's a place for you to put your work and your answer. Because once you finish the test, you want your answers and your work there, because the next day when we do corrections, that's what I give back to you with an X for the problem that's wrong. So you don't get to go back onto the computer, so you won't see what you've answered if you don't write it down here, okay? And any work that you put there, if you know you got it wrong, then you know, hey, whatever I worked out, that's obviously not correct. So you know not to do that again, okay? All right, number 7, Marsha's favorite cookie recipe calls for 1 1/3 cups of sugar for each batch of cookies. If she has 4 1/2 cups of sugar, how many batches of cookies can she make? So she's got a recipe for 1 1/3 cups of sugar for each of the batches. She's got 4 1/2 cups of sugar. She wants to know how many batches can she make it. Who hasn't answered yet? Well, everybody has. Everybody here has answered. I'm calling somebody who hasn't. Angie. Hi. What do you think? What operation do you think is going to be used here? You made eye contact with me. I called on you. Let's pretend like it's not fractions. So ignore the fractions for a second. Let's just say her favorite recipe calls for 2 cups of sugar for each batch. Focus on what I'm saying. It's division. So it's division because you're splitting it into equal parts, right? So 1 1/3 cup is going to be for each of the batches. We want to know how many batches are we going to make. So we want to split that 4 1/2 up into each equal batch. So that's going to make it division. Thank the person who helped you. So we're going to divide. Because again, we're trying to split it up into equal batches. So we do 4 1/2 and we're going to divide it by 1 1/3. What is that going to give us?
27 over 8.
Don't forget, mixed number.
Oh, I mean 3.
3 3/8. Good. 3 3/8. Change it into a mixed number. Did you do 4 1/2 divided by 1 1/3? Go back and look at what you did. You got to do 4 1/2 because 4 1/2 is the total. That's how much you totally have. And you're going to split it into 1 1/3 parts. Okay? All right, number 8. Number 8, Mrs. Floyd lost 1.5 pounds during the first week of her diet. During the second week, she lost 2/3 of what she lost the first week. If she loses the same amount as the second week, how much will she lose in the next 4 weeks? Okay? So, Julian, what do you think? Why would you think division? Are we splitting it into equal parts here? Not quite. I'm going to help you out with one part. There's a key word we talked about, which was of. She's losing 2/3 of what she lost last week or the first week. So, Jalen, what is that? Multiplication. Good job. Multiplication. 2/3 of what she lost the first week. So, we're going to take what she lost the first week, that 1 1/2, and we're going to multiply it by the 2/3. And that's going to give us 1 pound. So this is how much she lost the first week. This is how much she's going to lose the second week. Now they say if she continues to lose that same amount from the second week, then how much is she going to lose by 4 weeks, by week 4? So the first week, she lost 1.5 pounds. The second week, she lost 1 pound. And we're going to continue that trend. How are we going to figure out how much she's lost altogether? What operation? Addition. She loses this much the first week, this much the second week, this much the third, this much the fourth. You're going to add it all together. So we're going to add the first week and the second week. Now it says that she's going to continue with that same amount for the third week and the fourth week. So that means she's still going to continue losing a pound, a pound, a pound, and a pound. So how much altogether is it going to be? 4 1/2. 4 1/2, right? 1 1/2 for the first week, plus an additional 1 every week after that. So it's 4 1/2 pounds total. Okay? So like I said again, the first week she lost 1.5 pounds. In order to get the second week, you had to multiply it by 2/3. That gives you 1 pound for the second week. And it says if she loses the same amount as the second week, how much will she have lost by 4 weeks? So that means every week after that, she's always going to lose 1 pound. So it's 1 1/2 for the first week, and every week after that, it's just 1 pound that she's going to continue to lose. So total loss is 4 1/2 pounds. Now, what you can do now is work with a partner or work by yourself. You can work with a partner or work by yourself to get these next 2 pages done.